In this project, we're going to build a customer service copilot app. We're going to take a customer review stored in Google Sheet and use ChatGPT AI to help a coffee store manager with an online engagement and customer care. We're going to set the stage for this use case. Sarah is the manager of a Starbucks coffee shop. She's interested in understanding and improving the customer experience. Her approach is to analyze the online reviews that she has downloaded in Google Sheets, and she would like to use ChatGPT AI to make this work a little bit easier. First, she's going to do a sentiment analysis. Second, summarize the review in a simple to understand way, and then finally draft a possible reply to the review. Here's what the app will look like after it's built. Here is a Google Sheet with customer reviews. I want to first get a sentiment, whether it be positive, neutral, or negative. I want to get a quick summary. And finally, I want to write a reply. And I want to repeat this. Let's first look at the architecture of this application. Going from left to right, we're going to use Google Sheets as our source of data. We're going to take a custom function template and connect that to Chatflow that is built with Flowise Langchain, running on a Replit server with Chatflow persistence configured. When the Chatflow is called, it will call the OpenAI Large Language Model. We're going to build 3 Chatflows, one for sentiment analysis, one for a brief summary, and one to draft a reply to the review. So let's get started building. Let's start first with sentiment analysis. Let's start building our sentiment analysis. I'm going to create a prompt, and inside my prompt, I'm going to give it this prompt here. So the following is a review for Starbucks coffee location. Determine the sentiment of the review. Classify the sentiment on 3 possible values, positive, neutral, and negative. And I've just given it some more examples here from the data that I have. So for example, in this review, it's clearly negative. This review here is clearly positive, just to give it more understanding of what I mean by positive, negative, and neutral. And then I tell it then to give me the sentiment based on a review that I enter. All right, so that's my prompt. And then I'm going to configure the review template parameter. That's coming from the question. And then I'm going to add in my chain, large language model chain, and I'm going to use OpenAI as my large language model. Okay, I'll wire it up like this. Put in my credentials. I will save this as sentiment analysis. Okay, it's my Chatflow, and I'm just going to test it. So I'll give it an example from my spreadsheet. So it seems to be working. So I'm going to then go to my Google Sheet, and I'm going to open up the code editor. Now, this code editor, I've already created a function called sentiment. Now, it's basically a boilerplate function that you can use. So the only thing that you need to change is this URL. Okay, so this URL points to the Chatflow itself. So where do I get that URL? So for each Chatflow, if you go to the top button here, go to Python or JavaScript, it will have a URL here that points to this Chatflow. So I'll cut and paste this and point it to this location. Okay, so this Google custom function, when I use sentiment, it's going to do this boilerplate stuff, and it's going to then call into the Chatflow. All right, so let's try it and see if it works. So I'm going to go to my Google Sheets. I'll delete this, all this stuff, and I'm going to say sentiment, and then pass it to sentiment. Right. So what it's doing is that when this is executing, it goes into this custom function, and what all you need to know here is it's just going to go into the Chatflow, and the Chatflow will start executing this chain and will give you the result. Okay, so that is our sentiment analysis. So I'm just going to do basically exactly the same thing. I'll duplicate the flow here. I'll duplicate flow. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and I'm going to have a different prompt for the short summary. All right, so for the short summary, it's going to be summarize the following Starbucks review in a few words and generate an emoji to summarize the summary. I'm going to give it the review followed by the summary. So I'll do that, and then I'll configure. It's already configured. And then all I'll have to do is save it. And I'm going to say short summary. Save that. And I'll quickly test it. So I will go ahead and give it an example and test it here. So here's an example. Okay. So it's done a pretty good job at summarizing this in a very short amount of words. So I'm just then going to go back up to here, pick up the URL that represents the Chatflow, go to my code editor, and in this example here, again, it's basically the same boiler template, and I'm just going to paste into here the Chatflow. So the first few lines are exactly the same for the two functions that we've written so far. The only difference is this where you're pointing it to. So I'm just going to go and save this. Go back to my spreadsheet here and say short summary. All right, and it's going to call my Chatflow that I just created. All right, and then lastly, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing for a reply. Duplicate my flow, and I'm going to just change my prompt. All right, I'm going to say here, you're a manager of a Starbucks coffee shop. Please generate a polite reply to the review posted by a customer. And here it is. Okay, just limit it to one paragraph. So I'll save it. And then I'm going to save this as reply. And test it. So here's the review. And then it's generating a reply for me. I will then save this. Again, go back to here, copy my URL for this Chatflow. I'm going to go to my Google Sheets code editor. And then here is my reply function. Again, it's the same boilerplate, exactly the same as other two function. And then I'm just going to paste my new flow here. And then I'm going to save it. Go back to my sheet, and now I should have that function. the reply. Then I'm going to copy it here. So when that happens, I'm going to run my new Chatflow, and it's going to give this reply. And now I can just repeat this exact same thing across all the other reviews. And it's calling all the Chatflows respectively. All right, so that's a very simple build that gives you a customer service copilot.